A Canadian company wants to give users and investors a bank-like experience without the need for a bank. Stablecorp Inc., a fintech firm using bank-grade blockchain technology, was founded by 3iQ, Canada's largest crypto asset manager. They aim to reduce cross-border payment friction. And joining us now is Stablecorp CEO Alex McDougall, who will also be speaking at I.D.E.A.S 2022 by CoinDesk next week, October 18th and 19th in New York City. Hello there, Alex. So you say this is the next evolution of TradeFi. You work closely with USDC and Stellar. Are traditional financial players interested in working with cryptocurrencies for cross-border payments?
This is kind of the biggest question, isn't it? And I think it's really up to us as an industry right now to build those types of solutions that really look, act, and feel like what people are used to, but don't have 5% cost savings. They have 95% cost savings, or that you really are seeing those tangible benefits from that instant settlement. We always kind of think about it as, especially in bear markets like this, it's sort of time to build the boring stuff. It's time to go back to the basics and get those classic crypto use cases right that during bull markets we tend to look past and look through. So we built a suite of infrastructure really focused around regulatory compliance, focused around seamless front ends, really focusing on helping those big chunky value propositions that are traditionally trapped in bank friction. So the talk I'm doing at CoinDesk I.D.E.A.S is all around this idea of monetizing the friction tax in banking. So I think to answer your question, the short answer is yes. If you can make a very traditional type of value proposition of, hey, I can save you 90% on your costs, then absolutely everybody would be interested in doing that. It's really up to us as an industry to put all of the right regulatory pieces together, the right technology pieces, the right front end, the right governance, all of those pieces to actually make this a seamless experience that is easy to access like that.
So what part of the process are you in terms of cross-border payments? Are you the front end, the back end? Where are you?
Well, that's kind of the joy of where we're at with this composable ecosystem that we have in digital asset land now is we've built what we think are three key pieces of the infrastructure. So we have a front end called Grapes Finance, which again is something you can connect a non-custodial wallet to. You can onboard to a custodian in your own name and manage the front end of that transactions. We've also built the digital assets themselves. So we've built a Canadian stablecoin. We've a good partner of ours, Circle, obviously has the American side of that, and then we spend a lot of time on the on-chain FX piece with certain partners of ours. So we also manage some of the yield piece, which is a key component to any of this kind of bank-like experience. So we look at it as there's a composable ecosystem of solutions that need to all be in place to give you these kind of step function better experiences than what you can get in traditional finance. We've built some of the infrastructure, but we're really keen on ecosystem development, and a lot of our partners provide those solutions as well.
So what kind of users are you looking at? Are you looking at people who are doing remittances to and from Canada? Are you looking at people who are companies that are in actual trade, real trade finance, right? So in other words, importers and exporters into and out of Canada? Is it solely Canada, I assume, because you're dealing with a Canadian stablecoin?
So the way we've kind of built it is we're starting with Canada. It's our backyard, but basically the biggest friction points are for small medium businesses that really aren't scale enough to get those institutional type of FX rates, and are still kind of ending up with bank done foreign exchange, regular Swift wires, and that's really where we see kind of that biggest delta or biggest value gain. One of the key announcements we did a few weeks ago was with the Canadian Sail GP team, which is an international sailing racing team. So we use a combination of our infrastructure, cables, on-chain FX, and the Circle infrastructure to allow them to pay all of their athletes and sailors in a combination of USDC or fiat, whatever you want. And so it's those types of value propositions that we're really driving to see in kind of the small medium business market. There's a ton of cross-border flow back and forth between Canada and the US, and it's really time to kind of harden some of that model. We call it crypto NAFTA with Dante from the Circle team, and kind of creating the flows for that.
Do you see it eventually replacing the crypto the FX markets? Do you see a world in which stable coins end up, putting my old industry, the FX trading industry, out of business.
Absolutely. And I don't think it's going to be an overnight thing. I think it's going to be an evolution. We need to get the liquidity around those on-chain FX pairs down to where there is institutional types of spreads. But every time, and this is sort of the dirty secret about cross-border payments in digital asset world, is there isn't really an FX market because there's not a robust multi-currency market. So every time we need to go and settle or finalize those transactions, we need to jump off-chain back into the fiat world, which sort of breaks this machine speed web of commerce that we're building. So being able to access by API, being able to access in centralized and decentralized manners, robust liquid on-chain currency markets is one of the key pieces of infrastructure that actually enables this kind of global web of commerce that we're all looking to do.
And this is, you're right now working with USDC and Stellar. I guess you can work with any cryptocurrency or stablecoin. And
yep,
what's your value add here? Are you just making it more efficient for companies to use or like cheaper?
Yeah, so I mean, we think from our perspective on the front end, we're creating that connective fabric in the front end of that. So when we have Canadian businesses or American businesses onboarding with us, they're getting seamless front end access to Stellar, Algorand, and Ethereum, which is all the chains that we're on. We're enabling access to insured custody. We've built kind of a KYB sharing framework through Balance, one of our partners in Canada. We're also giving access to the Circle infrastructure through our front end as well as the FX infrastructure. So it really creates that kind of one-stop shop where you're getting access in your own name to all of these pieces of an ecosystem that gives you FX, gives you cross-border payments, gives you yield, gives you access to credit, all through one seamless front end. So when we think about where the value accrues, it's really in that connective fabric, which is one of the key pieces that we're putting together.
You know, Alex, it's really hard to put a stable coin on a coffee mug, but here's my Canadian dollar
Nice.
coffee mug.
Has to be, it's going to be King Charles soon. Soon enough.
Yeah.